review. Book one was all about the books that I read for the last 40 years. And today I have my special guest. She's the author of the book Never Quit on a Bad Day. No other than Miss Phoebe Trotman.
Hi, Daniel. Thanks so much for having me today.
Welcome to Book 101, Miss Phoebe, and can you please introduce more about yourself?
Absolutely. So, my name's Phebe Trotman. I am an author, a speaker, an entrepreneur, trainer, coach, and Hall of Fame soccer player. So, I'm grateful to be here, and I live in Coquitlam, British Columbia. And yeah, just excited to be able to share a little bit about the Never Quit on a Bad Day book series.
Miss Phoebe Trotman, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge to the world. Can you explain the meaning behind the title and why it's so important?
Absolutely, my pleasure. So, Never Quit on a Bad Day Inspiring Stories of Resilience is really what it's all about. It is a collection of short stories featuring the one you were promoting as accomplished athletes sharing their never quit on a bad day moment. So, what does a bad day look like? We all have different moments, times, seasons where we might be feeling a bit frustrated, a little bit discouraged. And it's so important when we're feeling those emotions not to quit. That's the time when you want to lean in, you want to move through those challenges, those frustrating moments, get to the other side, and then make a decision from there. And so it's really a book of encouragement, inspiration, and it really challenges the reader to think about their own journey and when they're going after their goals and dreams and how can they push through them while sharing tips, strategies, and suggestions of ways to push through those challenging moments.
Indeed, don't quit, people. Don't quit. And Miss Vivi, what inspired you to write this book?
Yeah, so I was actually with some friends and they suggested that I write a book. We were talking about what's next. We're all of us were entrepreneurs and so we're sharing kind of our next steps moment. And I shared I really wanted to create something to encourage and inspire people. And they actually suggested a book. And so I paused on it, really sat with it, and I thought, well, if I'm going to write a book, it has to do two things. Number one, I have to feel passionate about the subject and the topic. And number two, it has to inspire people. And the month before, I had been inducted into the Coquitlam Sports Hall of Fame, and so grateful for that honor. And we had an interview process, and the interviewer was asking me, "What has sport given me?" And I shared a lot of the life lessons that I've learned as an athlete. And I shared that many of the life lessons that I've learned actually have come from some of the challenges I face as an athlete, getting cut from a team, sitting on the bench, not even dressing for a game, losing big championship games, coming back after an injury. So, all of those moments and pushing through those is what led to a lot of the life lessons. And so, when I was talking with my friends, that's sort of when it hit me. And I realized that's what I wanted to share a book about, the challenges, how people's struggles lead to set ups. Setbacks don't have to end at the back, it can lead to a set up, and how to encourage people and inspire people to push through even when they're facing tough times. And so that's what Never Quit on a Bad Day, the book series, really is all about. And there's two books so far in the book series to encourage and inspire and to help people along their own journeys.
Inspiring indeed, Miss Phoebe. How do you choose the athletes featured in the book?
Yeah, so basically, it's people who I've been inspired by along my own journey. It is all the athletes in the book, are especially the accomplished athlete book and the first book in the series too. Incredible people, and I'm grateful they said yes. And so I reached out to them and shared the vision behind the book series and why I was writing it, and just shared with them how they've inspired me along my journey, and hopefully they would be open to sharing. And all of them in the book said yes, and so we did interviews and then put it all together, and I'm just so proud of it because the feedback has been incredible and it's helping people. I recently just The book was released last year, this edition, and I just recently reread it and felt inspired and encouraged. And so it really is a book that you can revisit at any time when you're needing a little pick me up. You'll definitely leave and feeling inspired.
Was there a particular story that moved or surprised you to the most?
It's interesting. I wouldn't say there's a particular story that surprised me the most. In some ways, what surprised me the most is how people define what they considered a bad day. And so everybody has their own idea of what that bad day or bad moment was. And so that was really enlightening to hear how some people, even the term bad day, they don't view it as a bad day. They view it as a learning experience. They view that situation that happened as something that they can shift their perspective of what happened and take something good out of what happened, even though it might have been a situation that wouldn't be initially perceived as positive. How did they pull from it? And so it really, the books, when you read them, you will feel inspired, and it challenges us as individuals to look at our own life, our own stories, to really shed some light on how maybe we can reframe certain situations that we've gone through or grown through, and how can we use the experiences we've had throughout our life to really help us move forward in terms of going forward with life as we continue to move through future challenges as well.
What common traits did you notice among these athletes when it comes to resilience?
Number one, gratitude. That is something that through both the books, you really can see and hear and feel the sense of gratitude that the athletes have for their journey and for the situations that they've had to go through, if you will. And just being grateful for the season that they're in life. They're grateful for all the experiences, the good, the ones that challenge them. And so, and just really being intentional with being grateful and finding things to be grateful, even when they've gone through a tough challenge. That really was a theme that stuck out. Number two, recognizing that bumps in the road are part of the process when you're going after a goal and dream. And many of the athletes share how they realized that it wasn't just going to be a smooth path, that there were going to be some obstacles, and those obstacles weren't there to stop them. Really, those obstacles were there to see how badly they wanted their goal, and they've grown from those obstacles. And that was something. And then the other thing I would share, perspective. We can choose the lens at which we view the situations that we're going through. And the athletes in this book, they went through, yes, they faced frustrations and they were disappointed in moments and all the emotions that come through with it. That being said, they chose to put on a lens of gratitude for their situation. They chose to put on a lens of what they could learn from the situation. They chose to put on a lens of how can this tough situation make me better going forward. And they really looked at that perspective. They realized that they had a choice at how they viewed the situation that they were going through.
Indeed, count your blessing, people, and stop complaining. How do these stories go beyond sports and speak to challenge in everyday life?
Absolutely. Well, the stories, although they're from athletes, they're not necessarily sports stories. Some of them, yes, are related to their actual sports. That being said, they're really just stories of people. Yes, they're athletes, but they're really people who had a goal, had a dream, and they were working towards it when they had a situation that was challenging. So it's really a book for, these books are really for any person or individual, young or old, who has had a goal. Maybe they've had bumps along the road of going after their goal. Maybe they're in a low moment and they're wanting to get back up, or maybe they're already doing really well and they want to stay there. So it's really books for anyone. You'll pull lessons out of them. It's a collection of short stories. At the end of every story is a section called Reflections on Resilience, where you have a pen and we're going to give you some questions, some things for you to actually sit on. And that's where you apply it to your own life, whether you are a student, an entrepreneur, an athlete, a parent, a teacher, anyone really, you will find value in the books.
Why do you think people are most tempted to give up on their worst days?
Well, I think it's part of the emotion, right? On our worst days, we're disappointed. All those emotions I share: disappointment, frustrated, angry, bitter, feeling like it's unfair. And so it is one of those things where sometimes it's so frustrated that it's like, is this really worth it? And those are the times where I really challenge people to know why you're going after this goal and really just work through it. Because when you do, and I encourage people listening, like, think about a tough situation that you went through, that you moved through, how you felt about yourself, right? It builds confidence, it builds belief. And so when we can just, move through them, feel the emotions, absolutely, work through the emotions, continue to pursue your goal. When you hit that goal, you just feel so rewarded in that. And I do share in both book, I share that, because I can always hear people saying, what do you mean never quit on a bad day? Do you mean I can never quit? That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, if you're going to quit something, because there are times when we should, quote unquote, quit something, quit it on a good day. Quit it when you have neutral emotions or when you are feeling positive about something, but you realize there are times when we should quit. And I like to say it's not even that we're quitting something, we're transitioning forward into something else.
Very well said, Miss Phoebe. Very well said. How do these athletes mentally recover from failure or disappointment?
Well, I know one particular story. They talk about the word failure, and one person, Donovan Bailey, is featured in the book. He shares a story, and he talks about how he doesn't look at it as failure. He looks at it as a learning experience, and I think that's so important because when we unpack, well, what does failure even mean? Right? We get to decide what we identify with as a failure or not, and if we can reframe what some people might consider a failure, but for us, look at it as it wasn't a failure, it was something we can learn from. And how do we learn from it? How do we grow from that situation so the next time we can come back stronger and better and whatever else we need to take away from that situation? So many times people think that success is on one end and failure is on the other end. And I remember seeing this image and it was so powerful. It's not that failure is on one side and success is on the other. Success might be here, and failure, there's many little failure points, if you want, along the way to success. And it's just part of that. And if you can move from one experience, let's take away that word failure, if you will, if you want to, or consider it, call it a failure, but realize it's all part of the process on your way to creating success.
Yes, people don't afraid to commit mistake or failure because it will help you to be, well, not the best, but better in the future. Were there any personal lessons you took away from writing this book?
Yeah, well, writing the book, I mean, I've been going through a very challenging personal situation family wise, and I had to remind myself so many times while writing the books and going through the books how I can apply all the lessons in the books to my own, real time, in real time, some of the things that I was dealing with, and so, and still dealing with, if you will. And so it is very applicable, and even just in terms of facing setbacks and disappointments with the release of the first book in the series, which was in 2023, and then this book last year, that there were things that didn't go quite as smoothly as I would have liked it to. That being said, I learned from it. I learned from the launch of the first book some of the things that didn't go as well as I would have liked, how to apply it to the second one. And then in this book, in terms of just being able to interview the athletes and just feeling encouraged, and even as I shared, rereading both the books over the last couple of weeks, and just realizing how important the lessons are in these books, and how when you apply the lessons in these books to your own life, how it truly can help you navigate those challenges a little bit, with whether it helps you to continue to go forward or helps you to reflect in a different way and really to empower you to make the choices that you need to make going forward for your own, to create a life that you love.
How does the theme of never quitting relate to mental health as well being?
Well, I think never quitting in terms of mental health, I think everybody has, how do I say this? I think that mental health is so important, our own, and taking charge and responsibility and doing whatever we need to do for our own mental health is so critically important, whether it is counseling, therapy, self-care days, whatever it is that someone needs to do. I encourage them to really look at that. This book, in terms of never quitting on a bad day, it relates to, goals, dreams, even just in general when you're going through tough, even relationships, if you will. Is it a bad day that you're going through that relationship, but when you pause, it's just a moment in time of frustration, and it's not the time to quit on that relationship, if you will, or that job. That being said, as I shared, there are things that we should quit. And when it comes to mental health, I share in the book, like, for example, if you're in a toxic relationship, if you are a lifestyle that's not serving you anymore, maybe that is something that you need to evaluate. And everyone, it's a personal journey for everyone. And so I think it's important to surround yourself with great people. And also, if it is a challenging, extremely challenging situation, that might be the time also to seek professional help as well too.
Very well said, Miss Phoebe. Beautifully articulated. What would you say to someone who feels like giving up right now?
I would encourage them to revisit why they started, whatever it is that they started. So you're asking a question, what would I say to someone who, for example, may be quitting on a goal? They set a goal, whatever that goal, maybe it's business, sports, health, whatever it might be, family goal. And if they're feeling like they want to give up, I would challenge them to pause and to really think back to why they set this goal. What was the reason behind wanting to go after this goal? And not just to stop at asking yourself that question once, why did I want to start that goal? Pull back the layers, keep asking yourself why. Drill down till you can really get to a point where you have with clarity why you set that goal. And that'll either fuel you to keep going because you've now retouched on the why, or you found out by even digging a little bit deeper. So now you have that, and it's either going to fire you up to keep going, or you might realize in drilling down and coming to clarity with that, why you went after this goal, that maybe it's another path to accomplish something similar. So that'll at least give you clarity to make the best decision moving forward. And again, I just encourage when you're doing that, you want to get to a place, if you are going to quit or transition forward to something else, do it on a good day. Do it when you feel neutral emotions or even positive. You just do not want to do it on a day where you're feeling frustration, anger, resentment, bitterness, or any sort of kind of negative emotion, if you will.
Miss Phoebe, as an author, what will be your short term and long term goals?
So, short-term goal right now is just to get the books out there into the hands of people who can benefit from them, really sharing the message of never quit on a bad day. One of my biggest goals with writing these books was that whether someone actually even opens the book or they see a water bottle with the saying on or a t-shirt with the saying on, that the saying and the motto never quit on a bad day really sticks in their mind and in their hearts, to help them, encourage them, and help them move forward, and that they share it with other people so other people can understand what never quit on a bad day is really all about. So I'm excited to continue to share the message of never quit on a bad day. Long term, continue to share the message. Also, my vision for the book series, as I mentioned, there's 2 books right now out in the book series. I'd like to have, my initial vision was 4, so I'll work on the other 2 books to release in the near future as well. And then just continue to grow the brand of Never Quit on a Bad Day and just support people along in their journey and encourage them to keep pushing forward, even when there's challenging times, and know that they can accomplish incredible things.
Good luck to your goals, Miss Phoebe, and looking forward for your success. And what will be your advice for those people out there want to quit right now?
I would say to them, write down 10 things that you're grateful for right in this moment, right where you are. Write down 10 things that you can be grateful for or more, and see how that shifts your energy, it shifts your state, and then keep going.
Yes, don't quit, people. Count your blessing. And then make sure that you have consistency of what you're doing. That will be the one of the key ingredients of success. Miss Phoebe, are you planning a follow-up or companion book with more stories of resilience?
Yes, absolutely. So the vision would be there will be at least 2 more books in the Never Quit on a Bad Day book series. So far, there's 2, and there's 2 more to come.
Looking forward for those books, Miss Phoebe, and thank you so much for empowering us. What kind of feedback have you received from readers, especially athletes or young people?
Yeah, the feedback has been great. I mean, I'm so grateful for people who've taken time to share reviews. The reviews have been positive. I've heard even from people who haven't shared reviews on Amazon, but who have reached out. I know one particularly young athlete who had a tryout for a team, and he literally shared with his mom that he was repeating some of the stories that the lessons from the stories in the book, and how it helped him go in and feel a sense of calmness to go into it and really embraced it. And so that just means a lot. And the feedback even from other people who have shared reviews on Amazon, it means a lot to know that people are taking reading the book, they're finding value in the book, and it's helping them with their own goals and dreams, because ultimately that was always the goal and the mission behind writing the books.
Miss Phoebe, how did writing this book affect your own perspective on perseverance?
Well, it's really encouraged me. As I shared, I've been going through a very tough family situation, and the books, like going through interviewing the athletes and writing the stories and putting it all together, provided a sense of encouragement. And we all need encouragement from time to time. We need it consistently, but especially sometimes when we have those really challenging situations, that's when we need it even more. And so, writing these books and putting it together and knowing that we're all going through tough stuff at some point in our life, and we can work through that with great people around ourselves, finding things to be grateful for, shifting our perspective, and really just kind of embracing the moments and the seasons that you're in. And so the books, writing them, publishing them, all of it has helped me tremendously in along my own journey as well too. And I've taken all the lessons that I've learned and shared in the books and continue to apply them to daily living.
Miss Phoebe, before we wrap up our discussion for today, I'm inviting you to please do listen to my other podcast, people, because Abstract Essay already in fifth season and Abstract Poetry in its second season, Book 101 Review in its fifth season as well, Comedy 101 second season, and Food 101 in its fifth season too. Geography 101 and Love Letters in its third season, and my baby podcast, Mental Health 101, Movie 101 Review, and Music 101 in its fourth season, and Sex 101 and Science 101 in its first season. Please do listen to them wherever you listen your podcast. So, Miss Phoebe, if readers take away just one message from Never Quit on a Bad Day, what do you hope it is?
That our struggles aren't there to stop us, they're not there to hold us down. They are just part of the journey, and we get to choose what we do next with that. And so I just encourage readers to realize that if you are going through a tough time right now, it's not permanent, it is temporary. What lesson can you pull from what you're going through? Surround yourself with great people, and just know that you're not alone in your challenges and struggles.
Miss Phoebe Trotman, thank you so much for sharing your empowering knowledge to the world. So, can you please invite our listeners to support Never Quit on a Bad Day?
Absolutely. So the Never Quit on a Bad Day. Oh,
Go ahead.
oh, sorry. I was going to say is available as you're showing on Amazon as well. And I just love to connect with people. So please feel free to reach out. Neverquitonabadday.com.
Yes, people, let's support Miss Phoebe Trotman because if you support her, more and more and more empowering books like this to come. So, Miss Phoebe, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Daniel. Appreciate being on the podcast. Have a great day.
More to come, people. See you soon.